This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 341 Aussie Mac Zone. How's cool is that, 341? Tonight we've got Zarn. How are you, Zarn?
I'm great, Michael. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Karen said, hi guys. Zarn said, Aussie Mac Zone, hello all. That was a sharer. I'm assuming it was you. It says
Yes.
sharer.
Yeah, it's me, and it says Aussie Mac Zone. Hello all. So
Yeah.
I'm coming through as Aussie Mac Zone.
Excellent.
Yes.
So our Aussie Apple ramblings this week are... there we go. Just waiting for the teleprompter to get. Here we go.
Hey.
And we're not a big dollar unit. The teleprompter, part of me, is my iPad connected to my Mac via a phone, like the phone cable, and then you put QuickTime Player on and go record new movie, and then you choose the iPad as the camera. And in Pages on the iPad, there's a thing called presenter mode, and that's where it works as a teleprompter, where it just rolls up the screen at whatever speed you let it go. So, story number one. Morning. Apple suddenly catches TikTok security spying on secretly spying on millions of iPhone users. Forbes reports Apple has fixed a serious problem with iOS 14 due in the fall, where apps can secretly access the clipboard on users' devices. Once the new OS is released, users will be warned whenever an app reads the last thing copied to the clipboard. As I warned earlier in the year, this is more than a theoretical risk for users, with countless apps already caught abusing the privacy in this way. As reported on June 23, Apple has fixed a serious problem in iOS 14 where apps can secretly access. Yeah, that's the same story stuck in there twice for some reason. So yeah, that was from Forbes.
Yeah.
And with iOS 14, it actually tells you what this app's doing. And this one's TikTok, which lots and lots of people use. And obviously it's reading, and other apps do it because they've got access to the last thing that was on your clipboard.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be aware, anyone that uses TikTok, I'm not one, so...
Yeah, I don't use TikTok either.
No. Now, Google announces a major new privacy improvement.
Yeah, this is cool, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk Android is saying earlier last week the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, announced changes being made to the way Google handles your privacy. Mainly, how long they will keep your information and what you can do about it. Pichai says, we focus on three important principles: keeping your information safe, treating it responsibly, and putting you in control. The changes Google is making will do exactly that, and today we'll explain the details on how to do it. So the Google privacy improvements. Essentially, Google has made it easier for location history, voice history, and web activity to be deleted. It used to be that as a Google user, you would need to go into your account and delete any history manually to keep them from storing your data. Google has now set the default for new accounts, as well as those who enable location history and web activity, to auto-delete your information after 18 months. Pichai informed users that if they already had location history, web and app activity turned on, Google wouldn't be changing those in your account. Instead, they will take extra measures with emails and reminder notifications to keep you informed of your new options.
Yep.
Now, while the new default will be 18 months, it doesn't have to stay that way. If you'd like to continue receiving the relevant ads and suggestions based on your web or location activity, you can actually turn this off entirely. Or if you want Google to store your data for even less time, you can set it to as low as 3 months.
Yeah, wow.
Now, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
While we Apple people, except we borrowed a lot from the Android OS in last week's iOS 14 announcements.
Oh, absolutely.
Like widgets on the home screen.
Yeah.
It's good to see Android users getting some control/privacy in their life as well.
Exactly. Like it seems like a pretty good, sort of share situation, doesn't it?
Yep.
They're getting the privacy that they so readily need and deserve.
Yep.
And we got some cool widgets.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so as long as they keep forcing each other to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely makes a difference. So we got some gaming.
We do.
Little
Actually,
stories,
so it says this is from The Verge, and it's Apple is getting serious about iPad gaming with better gamepad and keyboard support. A lot of gaming-focused features are coming to iPad and Apple TV. The Verge tells us Apple is greatly improving the gaming support in iOS 14, iPadOS 14, and tvOS. The biggest addition support for controller button remapping, haptics, rumble motion, and even the ability to properly use keyboard and mouse for iPad gaming. Game developers and players have long been asking for zone-based rumble and haptic support, and it's finally coming later this year. Developers will be able to program feedback into their games so players can feel specific things like recoil from guns or explosions. Apple is also planning to support some controllers with motion input, like Sony's DualShock 4 controller. This includes support for light bar, allowing Apple developers to change the color of the light on the controller when a health bar decreases, or for example, touchpad surfaces on the DualShock 4 will also be available to game developers with 2 fingers. Tracking, as well as support for the touchpad buttons. So there's a link in the notes there that'll give you all that sort of stuff. This is really cool. Like, I know I've been playing my games now on my Apple TV because it just seems a little bit easier with my Xbox controller.
Yeah.
The games are a little bit more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I am a console gamer, so I do like the feel of a controller. People can, tell me otherwise. I'm happy to take any criticism and go with it.
I'll have to make a phone holder that goes on your shoe. So when you're laying down in your lounge, and it holds your phone on your shoe, so it looks like a full screen sort of thing anyway. And then you got your controller.
That's fantastic.
You heard it here first.
That's right. Look, I really think this is great. That you can see that Apple are really sort of rolling with arcade, and they really want it to work.
Yes.
It's important that it does work, because there's nothing better than being able to go from the train to come home to play the same game.
Yeah.
And I've got. Thanks, Spider-Man. So I have can't turn this thing off. Can't turn this thing off, and it's in the lounge here where I'm doing my podcast. This is, so that.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. That's going to go all the way over there now. The other morning, I got up and walked out to make a coffee, and it goes, "Get ready to get caught in these webs." I'm like, "That's the gayest Spider-Man ever." I shouldn't say that. I have nothing against gay people, of course, but it was camp as hell, and it also scared the absolute buggery out of me. So
you were going to get webbed.
That's right. Anyway, back to gaming. So story 2. is Beyond the Steel Sky launches in Apple Arcade with PC on the way.
But yeah, notice it's not exclusive.
That's right. It's not exclusive. But the thing is, too, I think Apple buying the rights or the first rights to this game is important because it was a great game back in the day.
Yeah.
And then, pardon me, I'm so sorry. I apologise. I shouldn't be drinking soft drink before the show. It always does this to me. It was such a great game back in the day, and now for them to relaunch it and allow Apple to have, sort of first rollout of it is fantastic. It will be on PC, and I'm sure it will come to consoles later on. Well, if it's going to PC, I know that Microsoft will then, be able to access it and give it access to Xbox anyway. So anyway, Revolution Software has finally released Beyond the Steel Sky for Apple Arcade this week, as the game will be coming to PC in July. If you're not familiar with the game, this is a trip back in time for a lot of 90s comic book fans, as you get to step back inside Union City for the first time in a long time. Since the dystopian cyberpunk adventure Beneath the Steel Sky was released back in 1994, the company worked with creator Dave Gibbons on bringing the comic to life and continuing the story in the new 3D adventure title, complete with some of the same characters, locations, and humor from the original publication. You can play it on Apple Arcade right now, and it is available right now. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but next week I will have, and I'll be doing a review on the game. So it's available right now, and it'll be available with Steam release coming in July. You can check out a trailer, which is available for everybody to look at, and a couple of comments from the company's CEO and Gibbons himself are below. So that, again, the link's there if you want to check it out. In the show notes. I think you should. It looks amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on it and and play it. So please, if you play it this week, leave comments on our Facebook page and let me know what you think. I really want to hear from everybody about this game because it's a pretty big launch. And again, I'll be talking about it next Monday. So if we get those comments in this week, I'll add them to what I've got to say.
Excellent.
So that's gaming for me this week, Michael.
Yeah.
Again, I hope everyone gets to play this. I think it's great that we're, sort of getting this sort of stuff on the iPad as well, with the keypads and everything like that. It's going to be fantastic. I know you've got some stuff for entertainment, so let's hear it.
Yeah, so a little bit of entertainment. Blackpink breaks YouTube's 24-hour viewing record. Engadget reports BTS's YouTube viewership record has been broken over a year later, although it might not surprise you to hear who managed the feat. Variety reports that K-pop band Blackpink managed to break the record for the most views in 24 hours. Pardon me. Racking up 82.4 million views for its new How You Like That music video versus BTS's 74.6 million for Boy With Love. It might also be the fastest to 100 million views, having attained 94 million in 30 hours.
Wow.
And it was nearly 104 million as of the writing a couple of days ago.
Wow.
Now,
K-pop's crazy, hey? I can't believe how crazy that is.
But for your information, for those oldies, BTS is a Korean boy band.
That's right, they are.
And Blackpink is a Korean girl band, I suppose. Is that what you call it?
No, Blackpink's also a boy band, I'm pretty sure.
Nah.
No.
It was 4 girls on the picture.
Oh, there you go. It was a girl. So, K-pop's huge, like Korean pop. It's just massive. I mean, it's going off at the moment. I remember SBS were doing Saturday morning K-pop
Yeah.
videos and stuff like that, and we couldn't understand a word of it, but we just play it because it was hilarious and fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you still do actually. You do understand some of it because some of it is in English, and then some of it's in Korean.
Yeah.
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 And most of their songs are sort of half. But it's great.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And on Netflix, if you guys have been watching Somebody Feed Phil, who is one of the writers from Everyone Loves Raymond. He's done a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Yeah. His wife's also in Everyone Loves Raymond as the older brother Robert's wife and girlfriend in the show. But he's now got his own Netflix series, Somebody Feed Phil, where he travels around the world finding amazing food. And he goes to Korea and meets some K-pop people. And one of the guys who's a massive K-pop fan, a massive K-pop artist over there, is actually American Korean or Canadian Korean, one of the two, I can't remember. Came back to Korea to study something. I can't remember the full story. Ended up doing some music while he was studying and got a deal.
Yeah.
And he rang his mum and said, "I'm going to stay here. I've got a record deal." And his mum was just like, "Oh, that's horrible. Why are you doing this? You're not good enough. You can't sing." Like all good Korean mums do. They, no, you're not a doctor or a lawyer. It's not good enough. Yeah. And just the way he said it, and his mum still now, even though he's a multi-million K-pop artist, he's not, no, you're not a doctor or a lawyer. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Work harder.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah. Anyway.
Now more entertainment.
Yep.
I've got a typo on this one, but Julia Zamiro's Home Delivery, which is an Australian ABC show.
Yes.
On this week's episode, she is taking Atlassian, now a big player in enterprise software, co-founder Scott Farquhar, around his old haunts. So he's an Australian guy from Castle Hill in Sydney, and he's the co-founder of this company called Atlassian, and they make Jira, and they own Jira, they own Trello, there's Conquest, something like that. They make all this software for big companies. Trello is free, for example. You can use it for it's like putting post-it notes on a wall, for example, and organising your holidays and stuff for your family, and your family can log in and put suggestions up there and stuff like that, just to give you an idea. So that's ABC Wednesday 8 p.m. And of course there's links in the show notes. And now also on, it's not in the notes here, but on Apple TV this afternoon, I watched Dads. Now I thought this was going to be little blocks of different people. Yeah, it was actually a movie length show of all these different dads from around the world being interviewed. Cool. Some we know, some you don't know.
Yeah, because it's their Father's Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ours isn't yet, but I know theirs is a little earlier.
And this was actually directed and stuff by one of Ron Howard's kids.
Oh, awesome!
And they had Ron Howard's dad on it as well.
Oh, right. Well, I didn't even know. Well,
talking. Ron Howard's dad was talking about how he made a suggestion for the Andy Griffith show when Ron Howard was first a little kid in the Andy Griffith show when Andy Griffith was the sheriff in town, and he made a suggestion and they took it on board over lunch and then went from there. How they were going to depict Ron Howard in the show. Oh, okay. And all these things about what makes a dad a dad. There was one guy who ended up being the stay-at-home dad, and after a little while, he started filming the kids and like,
Yeah.
or doing all these things, and then started putting it online, and just went like how he became famous doing that, and how the kids, and he shows the kids eating, being good, shows the kids being bad, just to help fathers along, let them know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Wanting to kill their kids occasionally.
I think these things are great for dads.
Yep.
And they're also very important, because I think as dads there isn't the groups, that offer. Camera keeps going funny. I don't know why.
Because you want to have focuses on.
Yeah. But how much you got your mother groups and your baby meat groups and all that sort of stuff. There's not.
Well, there's one Japanese guy in there who was sick for a little while, and then he convinced his wife to have a kid. And now they've got the secret father society, because it's not a real big thing in Japan for fathers that like to have stay-at-home fathers. They said it's not really secret. Just when you're in Japan, something that's secret's really cool. So they call it the secret father society or something. So yeah,
that's really cool. So I'm on a page on Facebook. It's just a Penrith Dads page.
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of thing, we just share stuff about our kids and, talk about, the sort of the trials and tribulations of being a dad.
Yeah.
And, but it's good to know other dads, that are doing the same sort of stuff and trying to be the best dads they can be, but understand that in this day and age, it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to, you don't have to bottle all that stuff up and,
but
worry by yourself.
Like Karen and I, one of the guys that we used to work with years ago, ended up being a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
His missus was earning more than he was, so he was quite happy staying at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think I'd be all right at it if I had to do it, I stay at home.
It's not having to do it, it's choosing to do it.
That's what I mean. If Kellyanne was making more money or something like that, then, and we could afford to do that, then I'm sure I'd be a pretty good stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
And
that's what's good about this Dad's movie. It talks about why you're the stay-at-home dad, and by choice or not by choice. And how sharing's good, and just, it's all of those little things. All that up was really good.
Excellent.
Very, very good. Funny, sad. Now, what about this? This will make you happy, this one.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Because you were picking on it from the beginning.
I was. I knew it, though. Like anything made by, no offence to the Australian government, of course, because they're loyal and trustworthy.
Straight.
But I knew this wasn't going to work. Like, they can't even get our internet security right. What makes them think they could build something like this? But anyway, go ahead. Tell the story.
Okay. Australia's much hyped contact tracing app a terrible failure. SMH.com.au reports when Australia's $2 million COVID-safe tracing app was launched just over 2 months ago, it was met with some trepidation over privacy, but also enthusiasm. Within days of its release, millions of people downloaded it onto their smartphone. It promised to identify users who had been in close proximity with one another for an extended period of time to help in contact tracing. The labour-intensive process of finding every person who may have been exposed to an infected person. The app could save time and possibly lives. Now, while it initially got the backing from some of Australia's leading technology experts for protection of private data, some obvious technical shortcomings were also identified. The app did not work very effectively running in the background or if the phone was locked. Testing data provided to the Senate revealed that its effectiveness, particularly on Apple phones, was an ongoing issue. In late May, it worked only 25 to 50% of the time in locked iPhone to iPhone testing, while on Android phones, there were major problems sharing data with iPhones.
Yeah.
Now, these technical issues are not just glitches. As reported in the Sun Herald, despite it having been downloaded by more than 6 million people, the app has not identified one close contact of a person infected with COVID-19
Not one.
who had not already been found through manual contact tracing.
That's right.
By any measure, this is a terrible failure. Now, admittedly, we're only 2 months in of what might be 20 months worth of...
Very long stay. Yeah.
So, be fair, they're still getting it. But
look, why? I haven't downloaded the app. Clearly, we all know that I haven't downloaded the app because I just think it's a joke. Just listen to the report. I'm not far from it. But it's there in the background on my phone anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't have to download it because the government's already put it on the phone. So
what have they put on your phone?
So if you go in, right, I can't do it right now. You can go into settings.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I can't remember where to go in, but the COVID app is there. Right, it's in the background on all iPhones.
No.
Guarantee it. I absolutely 100% guarantee it. I guarantee
can't be on there without you putting it on there.
Absolutely. 100% guarantee it's there.
So we'll live in disagreement.
All right, I can prove it to you if you like. Do you want to right now live? I can prove it to you.
Yep, go for it.
Yep, great. All right.
I'm happy.
2 seconds.
I'll keep reading while you get it ready. All right.
Yep.
Now, there are promising developments in a combined effort. Apple and Google have released tracing technology that vows to work more seamlessly on Android and iPhones. And the Australian government has said it is looking at whether it could be used locally. Of course it can be used locally. Now, the recent surge of infections in Victoria has starkly demonstrated that large outbreaks can never be ruled out until a vaccine is discovered. In months ahead, an effective tracing app could make a real difference in combating those outbreaks. At the moment, Australia does not have that. It's time the government owned up to that and set a path forward for doing so, and it can rectify the problem. So we found.
Can you walk me through?
Yeah.
Just where I go into settings to find the COVID app. Okay, so I'm going to go into my settings now. You can do this too if you like.
Yeah, I am.
I'm going to go into, where is it? Health. I'm just trying to find health.
Yeah.
Um,
Profile ID, data access and devices.
Yeah.
I thought it would just be there. I can't remember now. Privacy, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Privacy.
Yeah,
And then
privacy,
health.
then health, sorry.
Okay.
And
so settings.
Privacy.
so into settings, go into privacy, then go into health.
Yeah.
COVID-19 exposure logging.
You have to have the app as well.
You have to have the app as well. But this here, I can turn it on. I'm just going to turn my phone around to the screen.
No, because we haven't got the apps in Australia.
You can turn it on, it works. So.
Yeah, but it needs an app. Just turning it on.
Yeah.
Exposure logging, active app, no installed apps. That's what mine says.
Mine says when enabled, iPhone can exchange.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But touch where it says off, like that arrow on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And it takes you to another one where you turn the exposure logging on, which it doesn't turn on. You cannot turn on exposure logging without an authorized app installed that can send exposure notifications. So you can't turn it on.
I thought you could turn it on.
Nah.
The other day I turned it on.
No way. Because there's no app in Australia.
Yeah.
In the Australian Apple Store that will go on there. Because we don't have an Apple Google exposure app. That's there, so it's ready for us.
Yeah.
when we get an Apple Google
I
exposure.
know
app.
yeah.
I promise.
I promise. Yeah, I apologise.
No, you're right. I'm pointing it out. It's nearly
Yep.
there,
Yep.
and it's ready, which is great.
Yep.
That Apple have already put it in. They put that. I think it was 13.4.
Yep. I noticed it there. I noticed it in the
so
update.
it's ready.
Yeah.
To be turned on as soon as we get a Apple Google app that works.
So we were talking about the Apple Google app a few shows ago.
Yeah.
About them working together to make this app.
Yeah, Germany's doing it, I think, now.
Yeah.
England's still thinking about it. France is still thinking about it.
I think it's a great idea. And if Apple Google have built the app and it hasn't just been made by some bozo in a computer lab.
No, it's not even a government app.
Yeah, exactly. It's so this is what I'm saying, so I would happily get it, but it's there, ready to go. In the background,
that part only tells you that you've been. So when the doctor turns this thing on that says this person's been exposed, that goes out to your phone. Everybody's phone who's got this little tracing thing going.
Yeah.
Has he been in touch with him? No. Okay. Boom.
Yeah.
Has he been in touch? Yes. Okay. So then it puts a message up on your screen that you've been exposed.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
There we go.
Thank you. That's right.
I knew.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Yep.
Gives us a chance to explain it. See, one of the things I'll comment about in for the Melbourne situation at the moment, is like because there's an issue with the family all getting sick, right? They were all keeping their distance, like the 2 metre rule, blah blah blah, but they were handing around a cigarette lighter. And they believe some of it happened from they're thinking some of it happened from the cigarette lighter. Simple as that. Even though you're keeping your distance and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But something you've touched and another person's touched and another person's touched.
I don't even know how to keep distance at my work. Like, seriously, children don't have any distance rules.
No.
They don't. They just don't know how to keep a distance. They're all too busy talking about, who said this and who said that and boyfriend, girlfriend. Like, yeah, teenagers suck. They don't really. They're hilarious.
That's one of the things that came up in the Dad's movie. Was working through to the teenage years and then just shooting yourself.
yeah, totally. No, they're really funny to listen to. I love it. It's so much. I remember being that age and how important all this stuff was to me as well.
Yeah.
And how no one else could ever understand how I felt. And you just you looking at them now and realizing, I was the same and everything. You're just like, oh man, okay. Well, you poor things.
Well, it's like how to bring up kids, right? And Will Smith, was in the Dad thing, and he was saying he was sitting there. He'd written like a 1,000-page manual for his new picture-in-picture TV that he got.
Yeah.
When his wife's water broke, blah 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 blah. Gone to hospital, everything was cool. Bring the baby home. He says that's when it hit me. They give me a 1,000-page manual for my picture-in-picture TV and nothing for my kid.
Yeah. They don't know what to do. Like, what are you meant to do? Like, I've got 3 boys and I have absolutely no idea. And I think I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But every day is a new challenge.
Yep.
And you've just got to make sure that you remember that you love them.
Yeah.
And that they're just trying to get through day to day the same as you are.
Yep.
So.
And the teenagers.
The only difference is like they depend on you. Like they depend on you so much, and so you can't lose you can't lose your crap, and you can't get mad because they depend on us.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be their guiding light to do what's right and wrong.
Yeah. No, cool.
Yeah.
So we got more good news. So a 17-year-old Aussie app developer joins with Apple executives Tim Cook and Lisa Jackson. Do you want to take it?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. One of the features of Apple's annual WWDC is the Student Scholarship Program, which sees hundreds of young aspiring app developers win a trip to the event in California. Despite the event moving to an online-only format in 2020, the student competition was conducted again with thousands of aspiring developers around the world submitting app ideas to the judges. 10 young Australian, ranging in age from 13 to 19, were chosen as winners. Each of them will take part in the various sessions during this week's learning new skills relating to their interests area within Apple ecosystem. Prior to the opening keynote yesterday morning, one young Aussie was chosen as one of the just 14 developers from around the world to join a virtual gathering with Apple's Vice President of Environment Policy and Social Initiatives, Lisa Jackson. During the video call, 17-year-old Iran trainer presented the first major app he'd completed and shared his desire to be an Apple software engineer. He says, I can't imagine a future where I'm not building apps for Apple devices. Ewan?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Ewan from Adelaide told the group.
Yeah,
so with their show notes are there.
Yeah, while they were having that discussion with Lisa Jackson, Tim Cook came on as well. So they all got the bonus of having Tim Cook there as well for a little while.
No, imagine that.
Yeah, how cool would that be for you?
I know.
I
know. Like you're there just talking. Not only are you talking to Lisa Jackson, like clearly she's a big wig, and that's amazing. You'd be in awe. And then Tim Cook comes in and he's just like, hey guys, just sitting back listening to what you have to say about developing apps.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love this about Apple, the community spirit and again how you treat children.
Yeah.
And how they know that these kids are our future, and only supporting them will bring out their best.
Yeah.
So well done, Apple.
Now, iPad OS 14. Michael, I personally have been using the iPad OS 14 beta on my iPad without any issues.
Awesome.
It appears to be a super stable release, and the new scribble feature for the pen is really accurate, even with my crappy handwriting.
Oh, yeah, cool.
All my software still works, even some older stuff. Like I've got an old bit of video software that works. Now, this got me excited and was about to put the beta of Mac OS on my main Mac until I read Apple's list of current issues, which was pretty long. So I'll probably wait until the public beta sometime next month before I do that. But yeah, it's been really stable. Everyone I listen to on podcasts and stuff that have already been installing it on their iPads, their phones, their Macs, their Apple TVs, saying how stable it's been. Like there are little issues, and your phone or your iPad might run a little bit hotter or a little bit slower, but it's not crashing all the time and that sort of stuff. There was one of my stories was one of the guys from Mac Power users, Dave Spark. He uses a thing called Keyboard Maestro all the time, and when he goes in just to change the name of a script that he makes, Keyboard Maestro crashes. So it's going to be, we imagine that'll probably be an easy fix for the guys at Keyboard Maestro. But it is a beta, don't worry. And he was talking about last year he was there to sit next to an app developer that he knows, and we're talking like an hour and a half after the beta software's been released at the keynote, like they do.
Yep.
And he showed the app developer shows him an email message from an irate user of the guy's app. So the guy's put the beta software on his device.
Yep.
Then worked out that we're talking an hour and a half. Like the guy hasn't even had a chance to look at it because of what happens at WWDC. And this guy's written an email to him demanding he fixes this bit of software. Like right now. Don't do anything else, fix this bit of software. Like he put the beta software on his phone. It's not his, you know what I mean? The developer hasn't had a chance to look at it yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some people are a bit silly that way, but yeah. If it's not the most important thing in the world, don't put it on there. You know, if that phone is the most important thing, or your Mac, or, you know, I'm lucky I've got more than one iPad.
Yeah.
And lets me do things. But yeah, it's been really good. Very stable. Now we get to the serious part of the show.
Yes, the serious part. Australia hit by state-based cyber attackers.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison said a sophisticated state-based actor had spent months trying to hack all levels of the government's political bodies, essential services providers, and operators of critical infrastructure and education. We know it is a sophisticated state-based cyber actor. Is that meant to say attacker or actor?
No, actor, yeah.
Cyber actor because of the scale. Sorry, my finger started shaking again. Scale and nature of the targeting. Morrison told reporters by declining to say who Australia believes was responsible. Australia Intelligence has flagged similarities between the recent attacks and the cyber attack on Parliament and the three largest political parties in March 2019. For users and businesses, the Australian Cyber Intelligence Agency recommends activating systems like two-factor authentication. You should be doing this anyway.
Yes.
Two-factor authentication everywhere.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. My opinion.
Yeah.
We know these two-factor authentication stuff. Everyone goes, it slows me down, or, you know.
And?
Compared to shutting down altogether, it's a small price to pay.
It really is. Like, I use it on everything I have, and if they hack me, what are they going to get? Like $57 out of my bank account?
Yeah.
You know, like that's all I'm going to have. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a rich man by any means, and and I still use this stuff because that $57 could come in handy.
Yeah.
You know, and so if someone like me, Joe Blogs off the street is using this sort of security because I understand that I can't afford to lose that. Neither can some big business afford to lose millions of dollars because they're not doing this sort of stuff.
Some university in the States got hacked recently.
Yep.
With software that somehow got into the system, which is usually by phishing or someone, you know.
Yeah.
The boss, not the secretary, but the boss doing something silly, or a staff member just not following the rules properly, and it cost them like $1.5 million, and it's not what they paid the ransomware people. That's what it cost to get the full system back up and going really quickly, because the university can't stop for weeks while it rebuilds.
Right.
It's got to rebuild its stuff. So you're paying, top
The
dollar for people to work over the weekend and stuff.
The university can't stop for 2 days.
Nah.
You know, so they have to pay that money to fix this.
Yeah, so please just think about every email you're looking at. Think about, and even like, where was I yesterday? And it was bringing up dumb stuff. You got to watch out for even links in Etsy and all this sort of stuff.
Even Facebook.
Karen had a link the other day, and it took her to some porn page,
Yeah.
and it was a link for dressmaking or something. Like,
Etsy.
And it's why that's the way they get away, because they can't have their own porn websites.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the black web will say, "Oh, go to Etsy page, blah 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 blah," and it'll give you what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
And that way, someone else is doing all the hosting that doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
And they've just got to keep changing the name every couple of weeks. So
yeah.
That's the sort of thing that goes on, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So what about our show promotion? The show notes link each week on show upload, and the link being this week, aussiemaxzone.com.au/AMZ341. There you'll see 6 weeks of show notes.
Email us at Michael or Zarn at aussiemaxzone.com.au.
Yeah. Search Spotify or Apple News. Just search for Aussie Max Zone and you'll find stuff there.
Yeah, or wherever and whoever you use to get your podcasts.
That's right.
Thanks to all supporters and our listeners. It's you guys.
Most important people to listen.
Absolutely.
Or the watchers.
Yeah, the watchers.
Very, very important people. Yep.
Yep.
And over to Zarn for the sign-off.
Yep. Thanks again, guys, for watching and listening and, doing your thing while we do our thing. Remember, an apple a day keeps the androids away. See you later.